And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Fresh Fit Podcast, man. It's Money Monday. We're going to be talking about the trades and how to make six figures with blue-collar work. Let's get into it, guys.
Let's go.
And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to It's Money Monday, Fresh Fit Podcast, man. We are here with RP Thor, and we're going to be talking about the trades and how to make money from them. But quick announcement before we get into the show, rumble.com/freshfit. Also, guys, check us out on castleclub.tv. As you guys know, that's the home base for us, whether it's Rumble or Castle Club. That is the new front, man. So check us out over there where you can get all the content. You know, we got all our old Andrew Tate interviews, a bunch of stuff that might not necessarily align with YouTube. So a lot of our content is over there on rumble.com/freshfit. Also check us out on castleclub.tv. And then check me out on Twitter, guys, UnplugitX. Okay, I'm growing on there significantly. We're at almost 70,000, man. We've only been on since November 5th. So it's been growing. You guys really enjoy the Twitter. I've been going viral all over the place as Fresh shakes his head. But
I don't know how you're not banned, bro.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
If you guys want fun vlogs, man, lifestyle vlogs, go check the vlog channel. 181K subs right now and growing. Show up for the support. And yeah, see you guys in there watching the vlogs.
Oh, yeah. And guys, we did a great episode on Fed Reacts yesterday on Epstein and how he was, working for a certain country as an intel asset. So go check that out on Fed Reacts as well on YouTube and on Rumble. The full version is on Rumble for obvious reasons. But yeah, we brought Dawson on. It was a great conversation. But anyway, guys, we got a very important episode today. We got Thor in the house, man. And Thor is, an older gentleman, been around, very durable guy. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And he's probably one of the best people when it comes to giving the young men advice on trades and different types of fields and disciplines. You guys have been asking for this one, man. So for all you guys out there that want to, find an alternative method between going to college or whatever, this is a very viable route where you can make quite a bit of money. I think there's quite a bit of skepticism and rumors. Oh yeah, you can't make that much money doing blue collar work. That's a lie, and we're going to talk about that here in detail with a bunch of different trades. But before we do that, Thor, welcome to the show. We know who you are. The people might not. Can you please introduce yourself to the people?
Well, thank you for having me back, man. It's been a couple years, and I appreciate coming on and talking with you guys. My name is Thor. It really is my name. I was born with that name. I don't have a pseudonym, so let's get started there. I'm 61, soon to be 62, year old man that's been in the power line trades for 39 years, working with high voltage power lines, flying on helicopters, barehanding 500,000 volts in a steel suit from helicopters, things like that. I am the guy that comes out with a crew and puts poles back up after a hurricane, particularly there in Florida. When all the power lines fall down, guys like me come back and put the power back up. We're always in demand. So that's a little bit about my trade. Now, when I was in this trade back in 1991, I did get burned by 12,000 volts. We could talk about that later. There is risk with this trade. I met Myron a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we worked together for a little while, and it was a real pleasure coaching and mentoring young men. And it's still very satisfying to me to this day.
No, and we're happy to have you, man, so that you can impart your wisdom on the people. Because the thing is that you're still involved in that trade to this day, right?
Absolutely. I still maintain work today. Now, I'm not out there flying or climbing the towers or the poles, but I am working with quality control on the invoicing for several hundreds of men that are doing that construction now. And so I'm kind of in the twilight of my career, but I'm helping them. And I spent a couple of years actually training these young men as apprentices. And that's really where I got the real taste to help young men achieve their goals. It's satisfying. They're like all my misbegotten sons. And when I see them do well in the trade, it brings joy to me and fulfillment. And it's a way that I can cast a little piece of my legacy into the future. So that's why I do it. I don't do it for the money, but that's also why I do the coaching today and the podcasting, is kind of reach out and reclaim some of that.
Yeah, and I just want to make the audience very well aware that you're very successful, done very well for yourself. You're also an entrepreneur, and you really don't have to be doing this, but you really enjoy helping people out, because you've already made your money. You did it a long time ago, but you enjoy giving back to the youth, helping guys find another way to make money, earn a living, an honest living, where you can make quite a bit of money as well doing it. I think especially with, these Gen Zers, they asked young men, hey, what's the job that you want to do? And everyone answered influencer. And that's actually a problem, because the reality is not everyone has the charisma, not everyone has the ability, maybe not everyone has the resources, etc., to blow up on the internet. And the whole purpose of being a big celebrity or on the internet or whatever it may be is because not many people can do it. So most people won't. So people need a more viable way to earn an income and get a skill set that will actually be able to allow them to get into something. And then, hey, like I said before, you can get into this trade, make some money, and then start a side business or whatever. And you've been able to do that yourself.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, please.
When you get into a skilled trade like this, or a craftsman trade, if you're frugal with your money, you can really leverage that. I know we all talk about side hustles today, but I'll just describe, how I got started on that and how that made me into a very secure position where I'm at now. In 1991, I made a mistake. I got burned by 12,000 volts. I don't know if you can see, but see the scars I carry to this day.
Yeah.
And I thought I had lost my trade. I'd already been a journeyman for several years. Fortunately, through modern reconstructive surgery, I was able to come back fully with very small, inconveniences today. But I trained myself on how to do websites, and I taught myself how to draw pictures. And I leveraged that into an online retail business for power linemen, and ran that business for a long time. But I also saved money from being a power lineman, working overtime. When we work overtime, we get paid double time. Took that money, and I also bought, let's just say, half a dozen houses and paid them off, and went into a real estate as well over the course of the next 15 years.
Nice.
And then, so with those two businesses in place, I was also able to leverage that into certain investments, which I see that Myron's along the same journey now.
Yeah.
So it's smart to do things like that, because if you have issues later in life, you never know what's going to happen to take something away. At least I always have this skilled trade to fall back on in some capacities, whether it's consulting, training, or actually doing the labor.
Okay.
That's smart.
So let's start first with your current trade and your expertise, which is a power lineman. For the audience that might not know, can you describe what a power lineman is, job duties, and how you get into that field and what they could expect to earn per year?
Sure. So power lineman is a offshoot of the electrical trades. It's the oldest of the electrical trades. It was formed in the late 1800s when electricity was built, and they started with the electric light bulb, and they wanted to put power everywhere to get electric lights. It was very dangerous at the time. It's the reason that the electrical unions were formed before there was any electrical unions, because 1 and 2 linemen would be killed on the job by the time he was 30 years old.
Wow.
And that statistic had sustained all the way into just before World War II.
Okay.
So it was a tough go at it. Back then, the unions formed, we got safer, we understood electricity more, and we were able to build these lines and get power everywhere. You have to know some carpentry, you have to know mathematics, you have to understand how electricity at least works when it's being transmitted and distributed. You also have to have some social skills, because you're going to work on crews where guys' lives are in your hands. So you also have to have some EMT skills, because it's still rather high injury rate. There's only 121,000 power linemen in the US and Canada right now.
Oh, wow.
And because the injury rate, we do have defibrillators, we have the EMT training, and our injury rate is higher than police and fire combined, and they outnumber us by nearly 6 to 1. Yes.
Wow.
The only trades that are a little bit more dangerous is logging, deep sea mixed gas divers and welders, and those crab fishermen. Those are more dangerous than even military jobs. So it's interesting to note that it's that dangerous, but power linemen are rather ubiquitous because we just get the power delivered and you don't really think about us until you need the power. And they don't pay us anything to come put it up. And that's fact.
Yeah.
What's the average salary for, I say, beginning linesman, you would say?
Okay, so let's talk about that because it's different. I had ZipRecruiter up, so it's different in each state. But let's just take a look at the coasts. Out here on the West Coast, the starting annual salary for a journeyman power lineman is $122,000 annually.
Okay.
So you're going to start with about 60% of that if you enter one of the four-year apprenticeship programs. But what you don't get in there is that we're short power linemen right now. And so most linemen work 10 to 12 hours a day, and they work weekends too. Nearly all of the working crew members that I'm aware of out here in California, they make about $88.21 an hour.
Okay.
When they work overtime, it's all double time.
Wow.
So that puts it right around $162 an hour. And so 200 to 300K is relatively easy to do here in California. Okay. I don't know what it is on the East Coast, but they have similar pay. And one of the issues we face with power line industry right now in the utility line industry is that it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to like an EMP or coronal mass ejection where power grids would go down. We are in the process of bolstering the power grid. So there's lots of work to be done so that it could segment itself and be somewhat protected. But power linemen are old like me. Nearly 40% of us will retire by 2030. There's only 22,000 I'm looking at right here that are journeyman power linemen. And it's pretty much all men. It's because we have to get up early and we have to stay late. Sometimes we work 24 hours a day for a week at a shot. They may fly us to Florida. They may fly us to Puerto Rico when the storm hit Puerto Rico. I know plenty of guys that were there for 3 months. And the whole time they were there, every hour of the day, they were paid double time and their meals and their hotel. Those guys walked away with a load of cash. So the opportunities are there. We have trouble actually getting young men to want to come in and take some of the trade schools and apply for these apprenticeships, mostly because they're not aware or the work is difficult. It's hard. You're working in the rain, the snow. It's very cold or very hot. So if you're tough enough to do that, you can really do well in this industry.
I like that you can have the power in your hands because overtime is huge. And I remember back in my way coming up, I maximized overtime because I was like, you know what? If I can work extra hours and make more money, why not do that now so I can enjoy life later on when I get older? That's really good, by the way. Overtime. Yeah.
And it lets you save that money or create a brokerage account and start to see the money actually work. And you get to see compound effect happen much quicker than anybody else when you can bank some of this overtime.
So it's a new year, Thor, right? And just real quick, I want to ask this question. So let's say I'm a person that wants to make money right now. What trades do you recommend other than power lineman to start this year? What other trades would you recommend?
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, I was going to ask, how does someone become a power lineman?
Okay, cool.
And then we'll get into the other trades.
Yeah.
But so, Thor, how does someone become a power linesman? How do they go through it? You mentioned before a 4-year apprenticeship, but can you take a step-by-step how someone would actually get into this career field? Because obviously, yeah, it's a little dangerous, but I'm sure people here are like, damn, like, okay, I could. That's quite a bit of money, or more.
Starting?
In California, they're making $200 to $300 pretty easily. How does someone get into this field?
Sure, that's a really good question, actually, because most people don't know. On my website, there's an instructional there exactly what certifications you need and things like that. But let's just take it a piece at a time. You can apply at the local utilities for what's called a groundman or a laborer position. That's very good. That gets your foot in the door. Or the best way to do it is to obtain a commercial driver's license and or other certifications, such as a crane operator certification, heavy equipment operator certification. All of these are trades in amongst themselves, but it gets you in a position where you're extremely valuable and you'll get into an apprenticeship much, much faster. So once you've done that, you can do that and apply and get an apprenticeship that way through the unions, such as the IBEW locals. They all offer training programs, which while you're training, they pay you as well. Okay. And then the other way is to go to one of the national lineman college schools, which you can earn an associate degree and science by going to these schools.
Mhm.
And they also prepare you, learn the language of line work, the tools, the equipment. They get you the certifications too. Many of them will loan you the money to go to school
Wow.
and then do a job placement. And that's one good way. Mike Rowe on the MikeRowe.org. You guys familiar with Mike Rowe, the dirty jobs guy?
Yes.
He had an
Yes.
episode on being a lineman.
Okay.
And he actually has a scholarship. If you write a letter on why you want to do a trade, it can be any trade. They pay for all your schooling. Did you know that?
Wow.
No, I didn't know that.
Pretty cool, huh? But anyway, those are some of the ways you can get in: by trade school, by application to local utilities, municipalities, or the local unions, probably the highest paying jobs, and they get the best training. But if you don't know where to start, that would be the places to start.
Wow. Very interesting. And then I didn't know that having a CDL or a crane operator license, all these other things will set you up to be, I guess, have a higher likelihood of being hired as a power lineman. Do these other skill sets translate into being a power lineman, or does it just look good on your resume?
No, they're required. If you think about it, we're driving these multi-axle vehicles that are commercial vehicles, like 18-wheelers. They have hazmat. You have to have a hazmat endorsement. Some of these boom trucks that lift 200 and 300 feet in the air, or even 50 feet in the air, are considered digger derrick cranes. So you got to be certified in that as well.
Oh.
So just to actually be a journeyman lineman, you'll need those certs anyway.
Okay.
The advantage of it is it makes you more marketable because you have these certifications when it comes to becoming an apprentice. That
Gotcha.
means the companies that are out there don't have to pay for your training because you've already done it. That's
Gotcha.
the fast track.
Okay.
That's smart.
Wow. So get the CDL, crane operator license, and then go ahead and apply to increase your likelihood of getting hired either as an apprentice.
Yeah, and certified welder fits right into that too. Now, you don't need that to be a power lineman, but it does help. I mean, we weld on the towers and fabricate and all that stuff as well.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So I sorry, Fresh. So you were asking about other trades, right?
I can only imagine someone says,
Which you kind of just segued into that.
This is kind of dangerous, so I don't want to do this one to be exact. But what are the options that I have, I guess, for coming into this?
Any other trades that people might want to get into?
Yeah.
Or did you say what can they get into now that if they want to make money quickly?
Yeah, like today,
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some trades you think, Thor, that people can get into? Let's say they're watching this right now, because I know we got a bunch of young men watching us. We got almost 6,000 y'all in here right now between YouTube and Rumble watching. They might be living at home with their mom, might not have so much money right now. They want to get into something quickly. And just start making some money, pay some bills, etc. Maybe they can get into something quickly and then build their way up, right, and get other certifications as they're climbing. What do you think's something that a guy can get into fairly quickly and in the blue collar world?
Okay, that's a really good question as well. And one of the quickest things you can do is be willing to move anywhere the work is. If you can do that, let's just start with the list.
Okay.
A CDL, commercial driver's license, is the quick. You can get it done in less than a month.
Okay.
You can get your CDL and you can start driving now for decent money.
Okay.
That is the first step. The next step, it'd take you a few more months. You get a crane cert, and those guys get paid really well. Easy for them to pull in 60 to 70 grand right out the bat. And they don't have to do a ton of training. They just need to be certified and start making application at these crane companies.
Nice.
Okay.
That are out there, such as Bragg Crane, Hill, all those sort of things. They're all online. You can find them. So that's one way. Another way is welding. You can get that in months, and you can become a certified welder and start becoming a fabricator. Another 50 to 80 grand right out the get-go. There's other ones. I just had a guy out to do a service on my heater and air conditioner. He was independent, worked for himself, and it's $185 an hour.
Wow.
So HVAC is a good one, and there's trade schools for that that'll get you in and out of there in 4 to 6 months.
Wow.
And now you could work for one of these HVAC companies right out the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, plumbing, I am not familiar with plumbing because power linemen and electrical trades are allergic to plumbing.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense.
Mostly because of the rules of plumbing, which you guys know the 2 rules of plumbing, right?
Yeah.
Number 1 is shit rolls downhill. First rule of plumbing. You know the rule number 2 of plumbing?
What?
Don't bite your fingernails. Now you know why we're allergic to plumbing. But plumbers make even better money when they work for themselves. There is a plumber that has this mansion 7 miles from me that has a private lake.
Yeah, I believe it. And everyone thinks that plumbers are brokies. Like,
Yeah.
bro, when we bring girls on this podcast and they shit on blue collar workers or plumbers or whatever, I'm like, you stupid bimbo, you don't know anything.
Yeah, they said I want that guy that works with management or plumbing. I want
Yeah.
date that guy.
Yeah, and
But
I'm
they're
like,
making money.
yeah, they make quite a bit of money.
Well, Thor, just to be a devil's advocate here, you might not like plumbers, but guess what? The power's in your hands, not their hands.
I love these guys too, because you know when your shit gets backed up, plumber's golden.
Yeah.
But
so
he listed. Let's say you're a beginner, you want to
yeah,
make money right now.
CDL seems to be
CDL, crane operator. What else? You listed as well.
Yep. Apply
HVAC.
for
HVAC,
apply.
and a welder.
You can-
plumber too.
Yeah.
And all of these, it sounds to me, all of these certs you can get in less than 6 months.
It's pretty
Yes,
good.
sir.
All of them. Okay. And you said a CDL you can get. So let's start with the CDL
A
first.
month, bro.
Can you tell us what a CDL is, how you can get one, what the process is? I'm sure every state has different requirements.
Yeah.
They do.
And what jobs are what doors you open with the CDL? I know the most obvious one is like a truck driver, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
But what are we can start with the CDL. Go ahead.
Sure. Commercial driver's license is going to be the base. And the only difference between the states and Canada right now is how they test for it. But they're all are DOT regulated licenses, which means
okay.
Department of Transportation. So they all have to follow the same basic safety rules, inspections, and logging when they're driving. There's a lot around that revolves around safety. And that's what these CDL schools will teach you. So around $2,500 to $4,000, you can sign up for one of these CDL schools, and they also have job placement too.
Wow.
You really need to do that. You could take the tests on your own, but now who do you apply to, right? You could drive from anybody like a UPS, or you can drive for heavy equipment where you're actually delivering the heavy equipment. If you want to become a heavy equipment operator, the first thing you have to do is get a CDL. So a CDL is the basic license that you would need to get into the trades that require heavy equipment, large trucks, any sort of commercial vehicles that are larger than a pickup truck. You're going to need a CDL.
Okay.
And that's across the entire nation. And they do get paid much better than just your common laborer that doesn't have one.
Okay.
What if I have my own truck and I want to get into it? Would that help me get a job faster if I have my own truck?
Such as an 18-wheeler?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's owner operators make very good money, especially if they're willing to travel across country, because everybody wants to travel local. But I've known a couple of CDL guys that actually took out a loan, bought their own truck, and then, found contracts, did their driving. Some of them would contract you like a UPS or Walmart. They still have owner operators, and they pay them a premium because they own their own truck and they carry their own insurance. And then I've seen those guys actually, rent their trucks out to another driver and then go buy another truck and then go buy another truck.
Wow.
So the sky's the limit if you want to get out there and grind,
So we don't want to hear for 2024, no excuses, because you can get a CDL, get a job right away. You can be either a plumber, you could be a lineman, you could be all these things. So
Yeah, because
if you're broke, it's your choice.
Yeah, because here's the other thing too. Because people get mad. Oh, you guys bring scammers on that. Teach us about being entrepreneurs and gurus. That's fine. You like I told y'all before. Not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. And I've said this many times. There's nothing wrong with having a job. I think the blue collar world is a great world. I mean, that's the world I came from being in law enforcement. And you can make quite a bit of money doing it. It's just that there tends to be this negative stigma that you can't be very successful doing it. And the reality is, a lot of you guys aren't cut out to be entrepreneurs. A lot of you guys aren't going to be influencers. And this is a fantastic field to go into to make a good amount of money. And then if you decide down the road you want to pivot and become an entrepreneur, like Thor did, like I did, etc., you'll have the ability to do so because you have some capital behind your goddamn name, and you can start off correctly in your entrepreneurial ventures. Thor, so we talked about the CDL. So you can get one for somewhere between, you said $25,000 to $4,000?
Yes. Yeah, you can get through the school and they'll guarantee you pass. Yep.
Okay. And not only that, you said job placement as well.
That's correct. Some of the schools offer job placement.
Wow. So that's fantastic. So we're talking, you save up $25,000 to $4,000, $2,500 to $4,000. You save that money, you go take the CDL, and then you can go ahead and land a job. What is this? What are some of these jobs that they might land you with placement?
You can get a local freight is one that's pretty popular. There's more and more of this supply chain stuff going on. That would be really easy. You could go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and you could get a delivery driver because they're going to give you a forklift certification. You guys seen those trucks that are delivering bricks that have the forklift strapped on the back?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You need a CDL, and that gets your foot in the door. And there you go. You can drive local and probably work normal shift hours. Probably won't be as much money, but you can start doing that. So that's a really, really quick way, and it's probably the fastest way to get into the trades. But really, what you would do is just type in, commercial driver's license school in my area in Google, and there's going to be a ton of them pop up. Same if you want to do crane work, you type in the National Crane Organization certification schools near me. As far as lineman jobs, type in a line college. Power lineman colleges near me or nationwide. You know that I have statistics here. Every year I get these statistics, and it's estimated there'll be 21,500 lineman job openings in 2024 alone.
Wow. Let me ask you this, Thor. And I guess this could be good for our audience, right? Has there been a drop in people working these jobs there? And, I always hear about people saying, we can't find employees. We can't find people that want to do this type of work. There's quite a bit of demand for these jobs, whether it's a plumber, HVAC, etc. With the explosion of people of going to college and wanting to be influencers and all this other bullshit and trying to make money online, people don't want to go ahead and do these blue-collar jobs anymore. So has there been a mass opening in these jobs, and is this a good time to get in now?
So I would think there is, but I don't know for sure. I can only speak to where I was involved with the power lineman. It's a little different. Since the money is so well, the demand is high. The problem is the working conditions are harsh. The schooling is required, and there is a physical test for becoming a power lineman, and just entry level. There's physical requirements. You can't be too overweight. You have to be able to climb a 70-foot pole within a certain time limit.
Sorry, Mo.
There is things you have to do, and then that just starts the apprenticeship. And the apprenticeship has tests, physical tests, and educational tests throughout it. You're only allowed so many strikes. So there is about a 25% failure rate.
Okay.
And the guys leave the trade. So that's where we lose a lot of guys. And then once the guys become journeymen, they stick around until retirement because it's a great job. So with most of us being over 55 years old, the openings are going to open up in a tremendous way. They already are right now. That's why we're seeing 21,500 lineman openings this year alone. So the opportunities there, how many guys are going to come in for those? I'm not really sure that we've seen a real bad drop because the money's really good, but we do see a lot of guys dropping out. They just can't cut it. It's too hard. I don't get to play video games because I'm working on the weekend, things like that. They don't like the extra hours.
Yeah.
But that's good because those guys get weeded out. You don't want them on the line anyway, because you never know. They might need to give you CPR. And so you want a guy that's willing to go all the way.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned first responders, law enforcement.
Yeah.
Another great trade. And I don't know if you realize, but when we work hand in hand with law enforcement and with firemen and first responders, we're considered here in California first responders as well. Power line down, first people on there are firemen or police. Sometimes we have to remove power from certain establishments that might be cartel run. So we do work with them pretty regular.
Okay.
Real quick, Thor. So this may be an underrated trade, but back in Barbados, I've seen people come from nothing, buy a lawnmower, a weed whacker, buy some gas, and they cut lawn, basically landscaping.
Okay.
How profitable is
Huge.
that, you would think,
Landscape
for most people?
Okay.
Because I think it's an easy entry level to get into as a trade.
Yep.
You could do it yourself. But how is that profitable, you would say, for yourself from what you've seen, landscaping?
Out here, it's tremendous. There's a ton of opportunity if you want to do landscaping, particularly maintenance and construction. Here in California, nearly everywhere you go is HOAs, and they have requirements for landscaping. Somebody's got to maintain it. Somebody's got to build it.
Yeah.
And this is nearly everywhere in California. Those regulations have to be met. So that's really interesting you say landscaping, because there's a lot of them here, and you need to understand not only how to do your job, but traffic control, permits, all that stuff. So they get paid pretty well. They really do out here in California. So that's a brilliant insight, actually. You could start with almost nothing right there. Just a willingness to go and work.
And the good part is you could be illegal immigrant, still get a job. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
That's true.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
you guys know that even
Yeah.
here in California, you can still be an immigrant and get a CDL.
Really?
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
In
You can
California,
get
I
a
believe it.
driver's
You can
license
get a
Mhm.
driver's license in certain states without being New York, California, these blue states, you can For all you illegal dudes watching the show, man, that's where you want to be. You want to be in California or New York.
All
You
my
can get a
niggas,
driver's license.
my niggas, go to California.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
God.
You know?
What was that, Thor?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do that.
I'll tell you this, man. You go by Home Depot. Let's say you're the owner. Pick up some Mexicans. You're well on your way, brother. Just say.
Okay, so we talked about certifications, right? Crane operator, CDL, a bunch of these certifications people can get in less than 6 months. So for all the guys out there, we're talking $2,500 to $4,000. You can go ahead and get yourself a CDL, and they'll give you job placement, and then bam, you pretty much landed a job where you're earning anywhere between what, $40,000 to $80,000, depending on what you end up doing.
That's correct. That would be correct. I mean, if you jump in and you're a carpenter assistant, it might be on that lower end, around 40 or the average. But you become an apprentice and you get into finished carpentry, particularly if you're willing to travel on these construction sites, these massive ones that they're doing. Yeah, you can start to see upwards of 100K easily.
Okay.
And you could probably do all of that within a year if you're a hustler.
Look, Thor.
Wow.
I want to work smart, not hard. I want the easiest trade possible to make money, work overtime, and get out. What trade is that, you would say?
First of all, I don't have that philosophy to work smarter than work hard. I think it's bullshit that we've been fed. You know, it's nice to work smart, but the reality is, and you know this is true, you have to work fucking hard. And we've forgotten that in this nation. We need to be able to get up early and work and stay late and work. And, you know, the work smarter is after you made the money and you invest it, and now your money is working for you. That's really the way to do it.
Yeah.
But until then, if you're just a guy that's leveling up, you're going to have to make that money. So the harder you work, the more competitive you are, and the better off you'll be. You know, discipline equals freedom. So you have the discipline to actually work hard. I think that's the way to go. Now, I've been in corporate America too. Yeah, work smarter and not harder. I would say work efficiently, you know, not inefficiently. But as far as hard work, I have never seen a guy fail working hard. You know, it's when they do dumb things over and over. That's the dumb part about working. You know, if you're in a job where it's repetitive and you're not making any, go get another one. That's working smarter, you know.
Yeah, because the excuse is
it's a philosophic difference. You know, I don't like that saying because I want guys to actually, you know, put their best effort forth, because they'll see rewards far quicker if they work hard.
Because people say all the time, I want to work smart in trades, but all my friends that do trades, they work really hard.
Yeah.
But they work overtime, stack the money, then they invest it after the facts. So working smart, this comes after the fact, like you said before. Really good point.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
work smart comes later. You guys are doing it. You understand that philosophy now, probably more intimately than most people, because what we see with you guys too is all the glitz. And it isn't all the glitz, is it?
It's a struggle, man.
A lot of hard work.
They don't see it.
yeah, I mean, like, hell, on Friday, like after we did our show, right, we went out and for like almost 2 hours and just like trying to figure out how to, you know, do the IRL streaming thing, like, you know, but we had to go out there and like test it out at 5 a.m. after doing 3 other shows. So it's like, or 2 other shows. But let me ask you this, Stuart. So, okay, so it seems like the CDL seems to be like the kind of the springboard into this world. We talked about welding before. How can someone become a welder? Because that's something that, you know, is always in demand. A lot of people, you know, kind of somewhat know about it, but you can make quite a bit of money doing it as well. How is someone getting into welding?
Okay, so this is really cool. You can get into welding really cheap because there's lots of YouTubes that go through the certification process. You just need access to a welder, and then you need access to someone that will test you. And so you can get really good at welding just watching the YouTubes, learning about the gas mixes, the different metals, things like that. I actually have a welding rig in my garage, and I've used it on several occasions. Years ago, I actually built a toy tank for my kids to push around the neighborhood with a 3-inch PVC gun, and I welded it myself after watching YouTubes and things like that. Wow. So that's one place to start, but almost every single junior college has a next to nothing cost for welding certifications, starting with Cert 1, rod, and then they'll go with wire, then they'll go to TIG, Each one is a semester-long class, and they offer the tests and all that. If there's a welding supply shop anywhere around, go ask those guys. They all know where you can go to learn to be a welder. So you can either, buy yourself a small welder, get some metal and a garage, and you can learn some from YouTube. My recommendation would be do that and then go to these junior colleges that are almost no cost and start there. And once you've done that, you can start hitting all the fabrication shops. Remember this, all of these companies that do freight all have welders to repair their trailers, their trucks. They have fabricators, every one of them that work at night repairing those trucks because those trucks wear out. So that's a good job. And welding can make really good money. And if you want to jump out and do welding on these oil rigs, or you want to be a roughneck, that's really good money. But I mean, you're going to be gone for a little while. But if you're willing to go where the work is and just make the money and focus on it, that's another good career, is being a roughneck in one of these oil states. Will having
CDL increase your likelihood of landing a welding gig as well?
Absolutely, because they need guys to be mobile, and some of them need to take a commercial truck that's over 26,000 pounds that has all the generators, the welders, the gases on board, so that they can mobile weld. So the CDL, once you have it, it's really, really, really worth it, because you can maintain it easily. Just for every 4 years, you got to pay a re-up.
Wow.
And if you decide to get a hazmat certification, you can double your salary.
Wow.
That's a little extra schooling, but that's just some of the things you could consider. Now, someday we're going to have robot trucks that deliver freight, but it's not going to happen real soon, because those guys that have the CDL, they're going to transfer over to these other trades that require them to drive trucks that are never going to be automated.
Yeah. Wow. Guys, as you can see here, guys, I wanted you out to hear him talk a little bit. We got an expert here. So if you guys got questions, man, super chat them in, rumble rant them in, whatever you guys want to do, fnfsuperchat.com or rumble rant them in. I know some of you guys have issues with being able to rumble rant it in, so we gave you the other option. Whatever you choose, or easier for you. So it seems to me, Thor, as if the CDL is basically the springboard. It's the foundation. That's the first thing you should do to get into this, whether you want to be, a plumber, welder, power lineman, crane operator, whatever it may be. The CDL is where you start, and I didn't realize, I know for some of you guys, oh my God, $2,500, so much money. But think of it this way: that $2,500 to $4,000 will springboard you into a career where you can make a significant amount more money. You're investing in yourself, essentially. And some of you guys spend that on a night at the fucking club, man. Let's be honest here. So, or on a chick that doesn't even like you in the first place. So,
or mods to your car.
Yeah, mods to your car is some bullshit.
If money is an issue for the guys out there, let me just do this for you really quick.
Yeah.
If money's an issue, go over to microworks.org. Read up on, the pledge that's on there. And he's asking for an essay on why you need the money to go to the school. They give out millions a year, and your schooling's paid for. They just want to know that you're going to work hard and you're going to follow that pledge. It's really freaking amazing. I used to recommend guys to do this all the time that wanted into trade schools, because some of these trade schools cost, $20,000, $40,000. Some of them do. And you can get it paid for. It's pretty amazing. It's a charitable institution. That's microworks.org. So that might help you out.
Now, this is just me being curious here, and we'll get some of these questions will come in and I'll read them here. But you mentioned that crab fishing is extremely dangerous. How is it? So can you tell me a little bit about crab fishing? How does someone get into that?
Yeah, actually, I have a nephew that's a crab fisherman.
Okay.
Really, you're going to have to go to the docks where they're at and ask to become a tender or something like that. Very low pay. It's basically you're a deck swabber. That's how you would get into it. Okay. And they're going to make you do that for a year or so as the lowest form of basic whale poop. And they're going to haze the shit out of you.
Of course.
But once they bring you into the crew, now you can run out there and make big money. You can work 6 months out of the year and take the other 6 months off.
Wow.
That's what the guys do. Yeah.
So
you're not going to just fish crab. One of the big misunderstandings about these crab fishermen is that they just go out and fish the big crab. A lot of these guys will fish, for cod, salmon. They do a lot of fishing. They're essentially a commercial fisherman.
Okay. On
a small boat, up to 100 feet, 200 feet, not the really big net casters. Those are a little different, but you could you could certainly work those if you wanted to, especially if you have a penchant for the sea and you don't get seasick. Everybody gets seasick, but I mean, you're okay with that sort of stuff. I mean, that's pretty respectable work when you realize what these guys do. You got to say, yeah, right on for you, man. That's tough.
Is it so? Being a crab fisherman, because you said it's very dangerous, and you had mentioned that there's a lot of high mortality rates compared to, like, you know, police officers. Like, how would you falling overboard? Like, how did the instances occur?
Sure. Well, they get injured mostly because there's heavy equipment rolling around on the deck, crab pots, ropes snapping, things bashing into them, hard hats falling off, getting head injuries. That's the high injury rate. Now, on the mortality side, once they're in the water, if they're not in a survival suit, they don't have long. So it's up to the crew to save them. And if that doesn't happen, yeah, it goes quick. Okay,
because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. I mean, I knew it was dangerous, but I didn't know why. So I was like, you know what? Let me ask, since I got Thor here. Alaska fishermen too, right? If I'm not, because I'm assuming you're not fishing in areas that are like, you're not here in Florida or on the Gulf Coast. You're like up by Alaska, right? If I'm not mistaken, you're like fishing very.
No, there are fishing on every coastal city. There is a commercial fishing situation here in Southern California. Instead of a lot of the guys run up to Alaska, but in the off season they do really well by getting a license to fish Dungeness crab, snow crab. So they can fish locally right here off of in the ocean. It's very fertile, and it just depends on what you're going after and what license you can get. Remember, it's all regulated, and they gotta license themselves by state fish and game to do so. It's pretty competitive, but any of these coastal cities that has ports where these boats dock, man, you could just go down there and watch them come in, and you know they always need somebody to do something. If you're willing to work for free for a few days here and there, it's your foot in the door. In fact, you might have to do that almost like a internship. That's one of the big ways of getting in if you're not, you know, born into it.
Okay.
Start.
Yeah. And you said they can go to like one of the docks and just start, you know, scrubbing the deck for a bit and just kind of get their way in, and then eventually hopefully get invited into the crew about a year later or whatever if they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, or sooner. Sure. Here's the thing. And I tell all men this, and everybody should know this. You have to be useful. Yeah, I mean, this even applies to relationships. You guys talk about relationships all the time, and the girls and all this. They need to be useful. If you can be useful in the trades, somebody's going to pick you up because you're going to make them money.
That's true.
So that's what you have to do.
Yeah. You know, camaraderie, being a good guy, being, you know, pleasurable to be around, pause, like not being a pain in the ass, being helpful, being useful. Like these are all things important that are very important, because at the end of the day, it's a team, you know, so you don't want to have a, you know, negative, grumpy, annoying people on your team that, like, you know, just kill that. You know, all of you guys had that one friend that's just like a fucking buzzkill. You don't want to be that guy, especially in the beginning stages when you're trying to find one of these gigs, man, because yeah, man, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and the type of relationships you're able to build. So, okay, we talked about crab fishing. I could hit the chats. Real quick. Yeah, we could hit some of these questions because I know some of y'all. We gave you guys kind of a broad overview of some of these different traits. But yeah, guys, I mean,
it's an option, man.
It's an option, man. Like a lot of y'all are not going to be TikTok influencers. Sorry, like, you know, we got to bring you guys to reality a little bit here, and you know, we can't be sitting here telling you guys, oh, get into these trades or whatever, without bringing an expert in. So
listen, it's a new year. You made some mistakes last year. It didn't work out for you.
Yeah,
try trades.
Yeah,
you know. You never know.
Let's see here what we got. Where we at? Dave Hustles. Hey, FNF, Myron, and Fresh. I need tips and pointers. I took a year of the dating market to focus and invest in myself. Now that I have everything in order, I'm going to date with a chick in a couple hours. I'm getting dinner with her and we're watching a movie.
Oh, my friend.
Bro, we told you, don't take girls to movies.
Movie is an L, bro.
Yeah, my friend.
I mean, yo, if you can, bro, change the movie date. So listen, this came up, we'll do this instead.
Yeah.
Something more chill. We could talk to her one-on-one, but not a dinner, movie date, bro.
Yeah, and even dinner, I'm a little skeptical about, man. Like, take her for like an appetizer or something like that. Don't spend a lot of money, and yeah, don't take her to a movie, man. Don't do that.
Typically, light food, tacos, and drinks, you're chilling.
Yeah.
Anything heavy for first date, if you're not advanced, it could mess you up. So.
Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, you could get finessed. Oh, my days goes. FNF, I live in the Northeast. We got slammed by a snowstorm this weekend. It was mostly men on my street clearing snow, no women. LOL, of course. For the UK trip, maybe YouTuber Expressions Oozing found him on the Grillin' Show with Cheyenne. He gave her risen the smoke.
Okay, we could check him out.
Joaquin goes, hey, Fresh and Fit, thank you guys for motivating me to get in shape and go to the gym, make more money, and be more charismatic. I appreciate how all of these things will help me be more attractive towards women. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you, Joaquin. Chats goes, nigga, is that scared of high voltage electrical work but is scared of blue light? Did y'all notice the Andrew Tate pod for the end of this month yet? Did y'all announce? No, we haven't, but wait, he's scared of high voltage. Bro, what?
What?
I don't understand what he's trying to say there. Hustle goes, 21, about to get my CDL with a hazmat and tanker endorsement. Should I relocate to Texas? I'm in Maryland, but there are opportunities to earn $100K no experience in the oil industry. Also looking to invest in Brandon Carter's program to become a fitness trainer. Bro,
Yes.
handle your trade first, and then once you get that handled, then you can go ahead and figure out how much time you have, and then get into the the side hustle of being a personal trainer as well. But Thor, what do you think about that? He says he's 21 with a CDL with a hazmat. So okay, so take
Go
it, right?
to where the work is. This is a big deal. Before you lock yourself down anywhere, go to where the work is. I mean, one thing that's really valuable to all of us is time. And the more time you don't go to where the work is, where you can make the most money, you are missing out on that compound effect of having that money in your pocket now.
Mm-hmm.
So don't mess around with that. And I can't help but notice your last question was on dating. There's something I have to bring up about power linemen.
Okay.
So they're across the entire nation every year. Type into Google somewhere, power lineman rodeo. So linemen, when they become a journeyman and they get to the top of their skill, they compete in various events to show off their skill in front of the public. This is really popular, and it's dangerous. They compete against each other to be the best of the best. There's literally groupies of women that come and look. Why? They're also type into Google lineman wife. Think about it. If you do become a journeyman power lineman, there will be gold diggers. There will be groupies. You make that kind of money and you're gone almost all the time. You have to be careful as a power lineman with the ladies.
Oh, wow.
It's an amazing thing. You're working a really dangerous job. It's very masculine. There's really no women around you at all while you're doing the line work. So this is really attractive to a lot of ladies that want to lock you down. So be careful.
There you go.
Wow.
So now everyone's going to join. Oh, I can get bitches. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do
job?
it. Yeah, I'm doing it. TJ King goes, what would be some specialist jobs for blue-collar workers? We talked about that. But, I mean, Thor, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to add one thing for you guys about linemen. Then I'm going to talk about other ones. So if you guys go to linemancentral.com, there's a button down there that says get alerts for new lineman openings.
Okay.
There you go.
Bam.
It doesn't get any easier than that. Now, I wanted to get to this one, the top 12. Here's some jobs that you might not have thought of. An ultrasonographer. I guess those are guys that look at ground penetrating radar. They make $131,000 per year. I don't know where you're going to go to get that. But hey, here's a respiratory therapist. $104,000 a year, gentlemen. Some of those go to trade school to get that. A dental hygienist, $99,000 a year.
Wow.
I actually have a male dental hygienist, and he's way better than the women ones that I had. Saying much more competent.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, you guys know that when they looked at nurses, male and female, the ones that got the best care between the men and the women, it's not even close.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Misogyny.
Bro, men are just
look
better
at
at
that.
everything, man.
Oh, shit.
Hey,
Misogyny.
red lens.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Construction manager, $89,000 per year. Aircraft mechanic, $82,000 per year. Cable technician, that's a guy with just piping in cable TV, $70,000 per year.
Wow. And people,
You
do
might
we
have to
do
climb
people
in
even
the
watch
attic, but-
cable anymore?
I guess they do. and they're probably rebuilding these because they're putting the internet feeds onto cable nowadays, right? So in industrial mechanics such as heavy equipment, $70,000 a year. Solar installer, $69,000. Real estate appraiser, $64,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Man, appraising's pretty easy.
Yeah. So you're just walking in and taking pictures and, okay, yeah, this house worth this much.
Electrician. So we call those guys narrowbacks because, they're not as broad shoulders as linemen. We're actually knuckle draggers and have to put Band-Aids on our knuckles because we drag our hands everywhere. But those electricians, 70 grand a year. Licensed practicing nurse, 100 grand a year.
How does someone go about, because I've talked about being an electrician before, how does someone go about being an electrician? Obviously, it's a little bit, less physically demanding than being a power lineman. How does someone go about that?
Much in the same way. You're going to need to go to companies that do electrical work.
Yeah.
And apply for a job there. Start out as a helper, become an apprentice. Also, there is the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Okay.
This spans much further than just the U.S. It goes worldwide. You can contact them and find out about apprenticeships around the world. And you can work through the union to obtain a paying apprenticeship. You'll have to understand what those requirements are and where the work is. If you're willing to travel where the work is, you can get the job and you can get the training.
Wow.
Now, another quick way to electrician, HVAC, and some of these skills that I just mentioned in the medical fields, you guys realize it's going into the military.
Yeah.
It's fully paid for.
Yep.
And I know plenty of those guys, and they come out with a lot of skills that are in demand.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, because if you pick the right MOSs, right, look, I love guys that want to do infantry, but guys, if you're going to go ahead and go into the military, try to pick up a trade while you're there. You can get your CDL for free. You can get all these different types of training, etc., and then you'll be able to hit the ground running once you come out, And
if you do want to go to school, chase the tail and get a worthless degree, they'll pay for it.
There you go. Exactly. So,
but isn't that funny, though?
Your GI Bill, yeah.
You spend, 5 to 7 years becoming a lawyer, doctor, whatever, and you're actually in debt when you finish. Versus your tradesman,
yeah,
you have no debt.
Yeah.
It's
or
paid
very
for,
little.
And
or
you make good money coming into it from the gate.
Yeah, you can make six figures.
So I feel like it's a better option for guys.
Yeah. For a lot of guys, it's better than getting a degree in fucking business, and then you get some stupid and regular job, like some desk job, making $50K per year, but you have hella debt.
And worst case scenario, let's say you want to do a business, you get the money from your actual trade, save it up, like what Thor did, put into real estate or whatever you want to put into. So that's a W.
Think about the math for a minute as college is proposed today. You come out of college, you owe 100 grand.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got to go start making it and pay that back. Now, if you go to one of these trade schools and you do it right, you could get Mike Rowe to pay for it. Then you get an apprenticeship making, between 60 and 100K right out the gate because you're going to where the work is.
Yep.
Let's just say you saved 25 grand per year. In 4 years, you have 100 grand in the bank. You could do a lot to leverage that.
Yeah, you can.
A lot.
Right out the gate as you turn journeyman. Now do that for another 2 years.
You can buy a house cash if you're in the right area.
Yep. And that's why I say go to where the work is.
Yeah.
And then you can take a look and your life will get much easier because that's part of the, the law of compounding.
Yep.
And so you're really at a disadvantage coming out of a college with a degree, even a STEM degree that you owe basically a mortgage on.
Yeah.
That is going to prevent you from doing a lot.
Absolutely.
Now, you won't get the prestige, but if you think about that and you do the math over the course of 20 years, you're going to make millions more.
Yeah.
All right. Ty McFly says, IBEW local 100 here. I'm 21, third generation IBEW. Saved 100K and have 800 credit. Looking to invest in real estate. Just witnessed my brother get electrocuted to death on solar. My condolences, my friend. Thank you, Fresh and Got, for opening my mind to more than a 9 to 5. Thank you. Shout out to you, Ty McFly. And I'm sorry about your loss.
That sucks, bro. Damn.
Elmond Howard goes, my question for Thor, aka Macho Man. And guys, please get your questions in, man. You have someone here that has many certifications. He's been in the game. He understands different types of trades and how to get into it, etc. He's a power linesman by trade, but obviously he's worked in other fields, so he can tell you this. Please get your questions. And he says, would hazmat endorsements on a CDL be good for this to get paid more, or does that matter?
It's always good because like the tanker endorsement gives you more options should they need to even transport water to a construction site. If you're working through the union, you're going to get a premium because you have that endorsement. So the certs are always good. They can't just get anybody, especially if they're going in an environmental area and they got to transport water because they got to keep dust down. So you're very versatile if you have these endorsements, even though you're a journeyman lineman. A good example of this, let's take it that you got a crane cert. A call from the union goes out for a journeyman lineman that needs to be able to operate a crane.
Okay.
They don't want to hire a separate crane operator. They want him to do line work and to operate the crane. He's going to get $4 to $5 an hour more, and he'll get a per diem for doing that because he has a cert. Same with welding. The same if he has human external cargo training. What that is having education on how to work off of the skid of a helicopter. If he understands how to use a Faraday suit and do bare handing, he can command a premium. You guys have seen like the History Channel where they show the lineman climbing out from a helicopter, all that sort of stuff. Those guys get paid not only high time, they get paid extra danger wages. They travel to the work. They make a lot of money if you're willing to do things like that and get those certs.
Wow.
So extra shirts always help, even in CDL.
That's good.
You're able to demand more. You basically diversify yourself from the entire rest of the workforce. So yeah, I mean, it's and then obviously if you're a power lineman and you have a certain cert, they're going to go with you versus hiring a contractor or something else like that. So it puts you in a very good position to be able to negotiate for more money and make more.
Exactly right.
Wow. Okay. So yes, my friend, get the cert then, according to Thor. Logan goes, Thor, will I be? He goes, Thor, I will be finished with welding school in July. Is there any opportunity for me to make 60 to 100K right out of school, and would it make sense to continue welding gates and dog kennels for my family fence business on the side as well?
Yeah, I would say do all of that. You could turn that side business if you're really good and you offer a lot of value. You could hire other welders and you could get that marketed. You could sell those products as well. I wouldn't give it up unless you have to travel and get a much better paying job. But I'm not sure what the question is because. Give up the side hustle is what he's asking?
I think he's asking if there's any opportunities for him to make 60 to 100K right out of school.
Right away, yeah.
That's question one. And then question two is, would it make sense to continue welding gates and dog kennels for my family fence business on the side as well?
Absolutely. Go to ZipRecruiter and start looking at welding. There's jobs all across the nation. And if you're willing to travel for it, get at it. You know, the cost per hour might differ state to state, and in some states where the cost of living is low, that salary might be lower, but your dollar goes further. So you have to consider all of those things and do your own research essentially. But absolutely, that's doable. That's 100% doable.
60 to 100K a year. Yeah. So it could be done, my friend. And then I think the other big thing too that I want to draw attention to that you've mentioned multiple times throughout this podcast, Thor, is the willingness to move. A lot of guys are comfortable where they're at. They don't want to leave their hometown. They don't want to leave their parents, whatever it may be.
Friends.
Guys or their friends. You got to be willing to move, guys. I mean, I left Connecticut in 2009 and I never looked back, man. I went to Boston to go to college. Then I went to Georgia. Then I lived in Texas for a while. Obviously, now I'm here in Florida. But I think a willingness to move and relocate is going to create way more opportunity for you. And you got to get out your comfort zone a lot of times. That might mean you step away from some of your best friends that you grew up with in high school. That might mean that you can't have home cooked meals anymore living with your parents. But I think guys need to understand that this is what you need to do to grow. And as a man, you need that personal development. A lot of times that comes from not living with your parents. Now, are there situations where living with your parents will make sense? Absolutely. And you can save a lot of money if you're able to get one of these trades in a state and stay home. Fantastic. But the reality is, are you going to be able to do that every single time? No, you might have to leave. So my friend, I think also the other thing, because the second question is, should I continue doing dog kennels and gates for his family business? I think you got to do the math. Does it make more sense for you to travel, get another welding job that might pay you more, or maybe even less, but the cost of living there is lower versus what you would be making staying at home with your parents, welding there, and doing that side hustle? You need to figure out what makes more sense, and the only person that can really crunch the numbers is you. But what I would say is see where you can maximize the profit and then go there based on what Thor said. But yes, absolutely possible.
Yep.
60 to $100,000 per year from what Thor is saying. Absolutely possible. Cobot goes, another option to get into trades if you can't afford schools is Job Corps. I did it. It's ghetto and you stay in a dorm, but they will feed you, give you trade training, and if you are focused, get you into an apprenticeship that pays you with a union.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Wow, forgot about that. Job Corps. Absolutely.
There you go. James goes, he's not lying. If I had my CDL since I've been 21, I'm 28 now. I found a local job delivering water to stores. I work 5 hours a day and my $2,500 a week before taxes. So Thor's spitting right now. Okay, bam. So there you go, man. CDL really opens doors to do a bunch of things. Just delivering water. He's making a decent amount of money for working only 5 hours a day. So yeah, CDL seems to me to be step number. Would you say that's step 1, Thor?
I would. I actually would. You know, well, first of all, a willingness to work.
Of course.
You know, get out there and work, do anything, work for the grocery store, work for local construction, and then go get that CDL. It opens a lot of doors for you.
Okay. Mexican Superman says, this is for the books. Within the second year in the maintenance industry, I got certified HVAC and became a maintenance supervisor. W immigrant taking this job from them lazy people hate on them Westerns.
Oh boy, he didn't tell a lie.
Yeah. So shout out to you becoming
respect
HVAC.
it.
Yeah. Evan C goes, any tips for starting as an electrician? I'm a helper right now in an electrician company and soon going to school to become an apprentice. And how much should I be making to start real estate? And what other things are there to make money while working? So I will answer the electrician thing first. So he's asking here,
Any tips for starting?
yeah, any tips for starting as an electrician? So he did exactly what you actually just said, Thor, as far as like working for the company, starting off, helping out, and then becoming an apprentice, etc.
Yep, I'm going to give you the best tip ever for that because you're becoming friends. Don't buy new tools. Buy used tools as long as they don't invalidate your safety. You know, if you have to buy a harness or something like that, you can buy it used as long as you know that it meets current safety standards. If you're going to buy body belts, you're going to buy your Kleins, you're going to buy your screwdrivers, buy them all used. You can find them really cheap. You'll save a lot of money and you'll position yourself with tools that you need to be more efficient throughout your apprenticeship. That's one thing. Same with your fire retardant shirts. Try to buy them used, man, because that stuff's really expensive. It sets you back and you can buy it all used. Don't be, I need all new shit to be good. You don't.
Wow.
Do companies fund the tools that you need as well?
Some do. Most of the hand tools, they do not.
Hmm.
Most safety equipment they will fund. It depends on your state. Here in California, all the safety equipment is paid for here.
Oh, wow.
But some of the tools you really need to be really good, you're going to have to, their hand tools, their instrumentation, you'll have to fund on your own.
Got it.
Okay. We got
Lazy.
Then he also said real estate as far as like investing. Bro, focus right now on getting your electrician license, becoming an electrician, making 6 figures per year, then we can have that talk about you getting into real estate. But for now, focus on making money in your trade, guys. I wasn't focused on real estate until I got into this, and then I was like, okay, into the entrepreneur world. But like I focused on being really good at my job first, then I got into the real estate after the fact. Become really good at what you do, and then you invest. Lazyville Slugger goes, I did 21 years as a block brick stone mason in a very rural area. Been installing auto glass for the last 8 years and also have my level 1 welding certification. I make between 70 and 80K a year doing all of these trades. Hard work is where I find peace. Shout out to you,
Well
my
said,
friend.
bro. Good job.
No kidding. Yeah, no, that's really good. And before I forget,
Yeah, please.
if you guys are interested in the lineman stuff, I'm going to do a shout out to Powerline Podcast. I don't know those guys, but in the Powerline trade, it's a very small community. And I have saw some of their podcasts out there on YouTube. It gives you a good flavor of the industry. So shout out to Powerline Podcast.
Guys, check that out if you want to get into that trade.
Yeah.
Richard goes, question for Thor. 20 years old with a CDL, no kids and no wife, got an opportunity with union operating engineers. I had originally planned to wait until I turned 21 for over-the-road truck driving. Which career path would you recommend to take?
If you have the opportunity to go work with heavy equipment operators, you know, that's a good opportunity. If that's existing now, take what's in front of you now, you know, and you'll create those other opportunities later as well.
Okay.
You know, I would take the skills that they offer. I kind of always, guys get in trouble where they're waiting for something and something good's offered. And then they start to think, well, if I just wait, I'll get this really good thing. And they start to turn into something better than it actually is because they're thinking about it. You have a good offer in front of you. You can take it. Guess what? As long as you're not involved in some kind of term contract for tools or length of time, you can leave. And when the other opportunity comes up, you need to be a bit Machiavellian about getting these jobs. One of the nice things about my trade is once you're a journeyman, you show up to a job, you're getting paid well, but management's treating you like a piece of shit. Guess what? You can pack your bags and it's called dragging. We walk off.
Wow. Okay.
And we've had whole crews walk off because they're not happy with how they're getting treated.
Wow.
Guess what? On the next job, they get treated better.
Yeah.
They just go to the next company and get picked up out of the books. And they have that flexibility because there's not many of us.
Yeah.
So
And it's
That's
something that needs to be
consider
done
too.
immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
smart.
yeah. So Thor's saying take the opportunity you got, man, versus waiting a year to take the over the road truck driving. You got an opportunity right now as a union operating engineer. Take that. Okay, it goes here. Michael Mode goes, hey guys, loving the free info we've been getting, and it's only the start of the year. Hey man, which podcast provides you
does
more
that,
value
bro?
than us, bro? I told you already. We bring the experts in different fields. We're not necessarily tradesmen like Thor, but we brought somebody in that is. And trust me, guys, we'll be doing this probably recurringly because I think this is something that's very important that not enough podcasts talk about, especially big ones, to help you guys out.
We should have done it sooner.
Yeah,
honestly.
So we got y'all, man.
Shout out Thor.
Michael Mode. Well, I had been trying to get Thor over here, but he's been busy with, obviously some things over there in California. But me and him had been Thor, we've been talking about this for what? The better part of almost a year and a half, 2 years now? About getting you over here?
Since I was out in Miami with you. I mean, we've done work before, but since you became fresh and fit, I mean, it was nice to be out there in person, but traveling in some cases a little difficult.
Yeah, difficult for you. Yeah, no, I understand.
And so I appreciate the remote. Sincerely, this is good to get out there, though.
Yeah, and we'll definitely.
Thor's a nice guy, man.
Yeah,
so humble.
No, he is, man. And I wanted to bring him on earlier, guys, but I was trying to bring him in studio, but obviously he has some things that he has to handle over there in California. So we'll probably do it remote. And give you guys the value.
Protect Thor at all costs, man. He's better than Loki.
Yeah, facts. Michael Mode goes, this guy. Michael Mode says, hey guys, loving the free info we've been getting, and it's only the start of the year. I'm currently working safety from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I've been looking for another trade job to do afterwards and wouldn't mess up the schedule any nighttime trades.
Welding?
What do you think, Thor, as far as like specific to nighttime?
I actually think fabricating is probably a good place to go, and I'll tell you why. Out here with all the construction, they have a lot of concrete delivery services. And at nights when they do all their servicing and repairs to the vehicles, something like that could work because the night shift would be where you would end up even as a helper, and you could get your foot in the trade that way, fabricating, truck repair. They do all their mechanic work at night. So that's another thought, maybe becoming a diesel mechanic, because they need those trucks during the day, delivering concrete out to the construction sites. So that's a way to add a second job that has some skills in it at night while you're working your other job during the day. So hopefully that'll stir some ideas with you and propel you forward.
All right. What else do we got here? Bobby goes, what movie quote is the most inspiring to you both, and why? What movie quote hits the hardest? That's a random question, but all I'll say is it's not about how hard you can get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going forward. Rocky.
Scarface.
What?
You know what I'm going to say?
What?
Forget about it.
Say hello to my little friend.
Fresh.
Don't underestimate the little guy in the corner.
But then he died right after.
Hey, man, that's not what matters. It's a thought that counts.
What about you, Thor?
Make my day.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep. Clint Eastwood, right? Dirty Harry, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We got Bobby he goes, in your opinion, what is the difference between displaying dominant and being controlling?
In terms of what?
I think it means being dominant versus being controlling. Yeah, he's talking about being with women. Guys, why can't y'all niggas stop talking about bitches for like one day, bro? This is an episode about making money and getting in the trades, and you guys are over here thinking about fucking hoes, man. Like, bro, come on, man.
He's one of us, man. BBC gang.
Bro.
I can answer that right now.
Please, Thor.
You know, there's a huge difference between dominant and being controlling. Dominant is just being in control of yourself. Think of it this way. If you have really good problem-solving skills, you're dominating everything in your life. That's highly attractive. And you're not controlling anything except your life. And for people looking in, it looks like, you know, you really got your shit wired. Controlling is you don't have any of that shit wired. So you're telling everybody else to do stuff for you in an effort to either inflate your worth or to, you know, make up for the weaknesses that you have.
All right.
Well said. So wise, man. Thor's that guy, bro.
Absolutely. What else do we got here?
Shout out to Wooden. That's his dad, bro.
Hey, FNF, keep it to go work. Do you know about Todd V, and have you considered inviting him to the show? He is the best pickup game coach I've seen in recent time, and it would be great to see him have a conversation with y'all.
Todd's cool.
Yeah.
We spoke to Owen before, but
Yeah, I've never met Todd in person or spoken to him, but if you guys want that to happen, we can make it happen. Vel6 goes, I'm currently 17 in high school, turning 18 this Friday. I've been thinking about joining the Navy, but I've had had second thoughts a lot of times. I just got a job working at a nursing home for $2,000 a month. Any advice? 17 high school. He works at a nursing home right now, making $2,000 a month. That works out to about $24,000 per year. He's going to turn 18 very soon. And he's thinking about joining the Navy, but has second thoughts. What's your thoughts on that, Thor?
I wonder what his second thoughts are. Is it because of the MOSs that they're offering? You could look at the other services. What about Air Force or even the Space Force if you're technically oriented and your ASVAB scores are enough? I'm not sure what his hesitations are with the military unless he is just, a little hesitant because of his age.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you're so young where you will do well. The military for young guys is really good, man. It teaches you structure. It teaches you how to use a firearm. It teaches you how to get in the gym and train. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you waking up early. It teaches you camaraderie. You learn so many masculine traits from being in the military that it's good. It's just good. And you get a GI Bill at the end of it, and then you can also pick up a couple of trades or certifications while you're in there for free, by the way. And then it will look great on your resume. So
I'll tell you this, man.
There's really not much downside besides the fact that the military has you for about 4 years. But
2K at 17
I'll tell you
bad
another huge
at
one.
all.
I think if it's either 4 or 6, but if you do that, I know it's not the best, but VA medical can save you millions of dollars over your lifetime.
That's true.
That's all free.
Yeah, that's true. VA medical, that's a big one.
I think he might be scared of dying, but you could do other jobs in the military, right? So you
Yeah, I mean, you don't got to go
Yeah.
into infantry, but I get it too because with the global conflict, what we got going on right now with certain countries, you know what I'm saying?
DraftKings.
Okay. You got to look at it this way too. We're all going to die.
Yeah,
That's true.
So,
Some sooner than others.
do the things you can do to prevent that from happening and move forward and put a grin on your face. Wipe the dirt off, stand back up, take a deep breath, and jump back in the arena. I could die tomorrow, man. I could step out of this house and get hit by a car or a truck.
Yeah.
It happens it happens a lot, actually.
It does.
So,
But to be fair to
just because you
Myron,
join the military.
to be fair, Myron and Thor's point, what's a better foundation for you? Nursing home or military?
Yeah.
All day military.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
So-
realistically.
Well, here's what I like about that. The nursing home shows that he's a very compassionate person. I like that. The military can offer him medical training, such as a physician's assistant or something like that, would make a ton of money, and they'd pay for all the training.
Yeah.
So he could satisfy that need to be a very compassionate person,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, actually. And they would teach him the discipline so he could exercise those skills in his civilian life.
Bam.
Nice.
TJ King goes, what would be some decent machinist jobs? I'm currently working on an industrial grinder making $90,000 per year.
Learn CNC language. CNC stands for computer or numerically controlled machines. These are the robot machines that make everything.
Okay.
The big machinists, if you understand that language and the tooling to set it up for the production runs, those guys get paid a lot. Look up on Google, CNC machine operator.
Bam. Okay.
All right.
Hitting him out at the park right now. Thor.
Aiden Frosh.
He goes, I'm 22 years old, journey, NYC, make $44 plus an hour, double on as a OT union laborer. Been lazy this year, didn't work much, but how can I invest from this job to get rich like you? And how long would I need to save to get my first house making $40 an hour? So he's saying, he's at NYC.
What was that, about 60 a year?
Yeah, I think so. But he's saying he's an old journey NYC. What does that mean? 22-year-old journey NYC.
I don't know. Let's just go with the number, though. So it's a matter of mathematics. If your cost of living is consuming your salary, you got to make changes. You might want to go minimalist, but you need to be stacking away 20 to 25% of your net income into your savings all the time until you have at least, you start with 3 months salary, you earn to 6 months salary. Once you get to 10 months to 12 months of salary in the bank, you can take 50% of that, put it down on a house, buy it, and then you can rent it out so it covers the rest of the mortgage, gives you a little on the side.
Yep.
That's how you start. This is not an overnight process.
Yeah. It's gonna take
How
a while.
long will it take you to put a year's salary in the bank at 20%, 25%? It's going to take you a minute.
Yeah.
But guess what? You can get at least 3 months in there within the first 9 months.
Yep.
10 months.
Or
Now-
he can even live in it the first time and only put 3.5% down if he doesn't want to buy as an investor as well.
FHA
That's
loan.
one option.
True.
That's
FHA
another
loan.
way
you
as
can
well.
do that too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that unless I had that in my back pocket. I have at least 3 months salary. How many of you
Yeah.
guys have that?
Yeah, it's a good point.
You don't want to be host poor.
We tell people all the time, you should have 6 months to a year. 3 months I agree with you is
Yes.
bare minimum.
Because best believe things
bare
will happen
minimum.
to your property.
Yes.
Because it belongs to you now.
Yes.
So
I
get
just
ready
had
for
to
it.
spend $13K on fucking heating for one of my houses that that I just closed on. So this is the game,
Yeah,
bro.
Replace the roof. I understand.
Oh yeah,
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
$25K.
yeah,
Holy. Roof.
easily $10,000 to $20,000 on a roof.
Yo.
Easily. Hey Thor, what do you think about completing courses as OSHA? I just completed the 30, 10, and scaffolding courses. I'm looking into getting into construction like my brother and dad who are trying to get me into the union. What do you think?
OSHA courses, occupational safety and health administration courses. Those are great to put on your resume to get your foot in the door.
Okay.
It's one more thing you can add to it.
All right.
I would recommend it. Yeah. If you're getting it, put that on the resume.
Okay.
Nick Almanza says, any tips for getting into the IBEW specifically? I'm 24 living in Los Angeles, making $72K as an operations manager in hotels. Any tips or advice? Does nepotism, if the union exists? Thanks, guys. Best guess by far. Will help a lot of young men.
Gotcha, man.
So
Okay.
tips
This
for
is an answer I
IBEW.
want to answer. He's in Los Angeles. So yeah, anywhere there's a union, there's always nepotism, but there's ways around this by making yourself useful and valuable. How would I do that? Local 47 IBEW out in Riverside, go sign the books. Then you want to be able to sign the NJACT, which is the National Joint Nevada California Apprentice Program. You're going to want to make an application. You can find it online. However, if you do that and you didn't do any of the certifications that I told you about, there'll be a stack of applicants that are sitting above you that have those certs. So you want to get into that stack and you want to get close to where they're going to call you for an interview, because they're calling a lot of guys, but they're calling the guys that already have those certs, because that saves them a lot of money to their contractors that they send these guys out to work for. And it saves a lot of their training time because they're funded by the union and they don't want to spend their money. They want to train you the basics, but if you got some of this yourself, you're very valuable to take on one of these apprentice classes.
Bam.
They do 3 to 4 of these classes a year, and that's a group of about 25 guys on each class.
Okay.
So Local 47 and the JATC, they're in Riverside.
Bam.
And since he's in Los Angeles, he'll know where that's at.
Okay.
That's how you get around the nepotism.
Okay. Man, guys, we're giving y'all, bro, we need some goddamn fire emojis in the chat or something like that, because we're giving y'all a lot of sauce. I don't think there's any other podcast that's going to bring somebody on and answer your guys' question raw like this, live on air, that you guys can actually go ahead and ask. I mean, like, this is crazy.
And usually, as someone getting into these trades, you learn by experience and making mistakes. He's telling you guys word for word from his
What to do
experience,
to
what
avoid
do
the mistakes.
to beat the learning curve and get ahead. That's
Yeah,
that's
man.
W, man.
Shout out to all the ninjas in
W
here.
Thor.
Okay, Nation goes, thoughts on firefighter paramedic career. I live in Dallas, starting off at $73K as a trainee. I'm also a professional MMA fighter, 5'2", and I'm hoping to open an MMA gym on the side. Fuck Dylan Downers. Okay. So he's thoughts on firefighter paramedic career. I think it's a great profession.
I love it. And I actually have some thoughts on the MMA gym.
Uh-huh.
So in 1993, I joined a gym. It was called the Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. My instructor went on to form and the UFC. And so 6 years of that, I opened a little Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school where I was at and ran it for 4 years. Those are money losing operations, guys, when you're doing it on the side. You either do it full time or you don't. I'm just telling you by experience. Those are hard and they eat a ton of time from you because you end up doing everything. You can't hire enough people to do what you need. That's a nice fantasy to have, but listen to the experience. I spent thousands of dollars setting that thing up and I loved every minute of it. I even had some students that were top 10 UFC fighters back in the mid 2000s that came from my school. And while I enjoyed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I eventually ended up stopping from injury. And it's a nice side hustle, but I would recommend something more proficient, like, I don't know, consulting or something that takes less time.
Online
realistic
coaching, something like
investing.
that.
Anything. That's just a real tough place to go.
Thor, and I'm really glad that you mentioned that. People have these aspirations a lot of times of opening a gym. etc. Guys, let me tell you, man, and I had some talks with Bradley Martin about this. Opening a gym is not, all sunshines and rainbows like you guys think. It's very difficult. It's very time consuming. It's very involved. I remember talking with Brad about the permits and getting everything. And he does it in LA, right? Depending on where you are, especially if you're trying to open up in a major city, it's not cheap. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be extremely time consuming. And for you to do it on the side, are you prepared to operate in the red for a while, right? Are you prepared to operate where you're not making any profit and you might even be losing money? A lot of you guys are not okay with that. So think twice before you think about opening up a gym, guys. There's other ways to really leverage that interest and hobby or that passion that you have, where consulting is fantastic, like Thor just said, or doing online coaching where you're teaching people online how to get in shape or how to do something. I mean, with martial arts, it's a little bit different. You might have to meet them one-on-one for that or any combat training. But opening a gym, guys, especially as a part-time gig, as a side hustle, I don't think that's a thing that you could do as a side hustle. It's going to be your full-time thing. It's very involved, right?
Even full-time is tricky, Myron. I'm good friends with John Fitch.
Yeah.
Former world champion.
Yeah.
And
he has a gym, right?
No, I mean, he works with gyms because, it is a liability to have your own. So he works and he does work out of gyms and he does his own thing. But, he has to travel and do extra things. It is not as lucrative as you might think.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that we had this conversation because I think a lot of people, that's a dream for so many people. It's like to open a gym, and guys, it's not as easy as you guys think, man. You know what? When we'll bring Bradley Martin back in and we'll talk about that.
Break it down.
About what it costs to open a gym, whatever. And keep in mind that he was wildly successful and had a big audience before he opened his gyms. So
that helped a lot.
And that helps a lot too, right? Because people want to go to zoo culture all the time and, meet them and everything else like that. And it's a influencer friendly gym, kind of like Christian Guzman. But these guys all built platforms before, and the gym isn't their predominant mode of making money. They make money in other ways, right? And then the gym is kind of like a accessory to what they already have going on.
They built a brand first,
then
they made a gym as a byproduct.
As like exactly. So. But yeah, gyms are a fucking money sink, man. Especially you want to talk about the pandemic where they had the gyms closed for damn near 2 years.
You're toast.
Man,
shut down imminent.
Yeah, bro.
Now, I will say this: I know people that use that as an opportunity, and here's what they did.
Yeah,
they had other businesses, and so by picking up a gym here and there that's failed, and they do it for different reasons. They lose money, but they offer an investment strategy when it comes to taxes. You're basically getting that on the back end, what you're spending on there with tax breaks and things like that as a loss.
Yeah.
So some of these gyms are operating for a business that actually makes their money somewhere else. And this is kind of the sink, I don't want to get too much into it, but
no. That's actually a fantastic point that you mentioned. Like they're already doing something extremely lucrative where it doesn't matter that they're redlining or in the red for their gym business because they're able to write that off as a loss, and that counts against their real income from their real business that actually is profitable.
That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, actually.
Wow.
A lot of people. Matter of fact, anytime I see like someone wildly successful, like they're doing something really like Christian, 90 million on Alpha League. He got to write some of that shit off somehow, right?
Or by a jet.
A gym.
I mean, it gets really interesting when you start actually acquiring some assets. You start learning about how to keep it in trust, hold it inside of an S corporation, and then spread it out. Myron, just a quick question. We don't have to go there, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but you should be starting to buy your property with land trust at some point, right? Under trust?
Yeah. So I'm going to start putting my stuff under trust. I have a holding LLC, but I'm going to put that under a trust. That's the next step, actually.
Smart.
Yeah, that is the next step for sure. And thank you for reminding me because I need to do that shit, actually.
Trust is the way to go.
Yeah, you got to do that. And I wanted to do it this year. Misa's homie goes, "What's up, boys? W show. My wife and I decided to pull the trigger and start looking for our second property in San Diego. We plan on renting out our current townhouse, even if it's at break even with the current mortgage, so we'd own regardless in 20 to 25 years. Oh, no problem, man. Hey, bro, like the property's going up in California always, so breaking even in California is fine. Even though, like I said before, I'm all about cash flow, but I understand your predicament. Your goal is to own the property free and clear, so I see that strategy. Jack goes, how do you get into niches within the trade such as ice road trucking, underwater welding, etc.?
Start with a
Go to
studio.
where the work is.
Okay, being able to go to where the work is.
Offer yourself as a intern. It's the best way and the quickest way to get in.
Bam. Me sauce homie, boys, my wife and I decided to get a second property here in San Diego. We plan on rents our current. Nope, read that one.
I guess he donated twice.
Oh, okay. Or no, he did say we're both. Scroll up. He said we're both vets and got excellent credit with the current mortgage, so we can own the asset in about 20. Okay, yeah, man, that's fine.
We got a lot of rumble rants.
A lot of rumble rants. Okay, and then we'll close out here, guys.
And Castle Club.
And Castle Club too. All right, we'll get these questions in right now. I'm traveling a wind turbine technician. Okay. And we start at $100K a year and are always hiring for any youngsters out there interested. Bam. There you go, man. You got someone in here, literally turbine technician. I'm a generator technician out, and this is from Lazy Laz. I only had the knowledge of engines and making over $100K in 2 years, working a ton of overtime. Also, I have a company truck that I take home and do not pay for fuel. As long as you want to work, you get overtime. Fair enough.
That's really good.
Generator technician. Galvan goes, glad to see y'all doing a blue collar episode. I'm currently going down this path with my general contractor's license. You can apply for a contractor license in most states with no education or training and start pretty much any company with it. Landscaping, construction, painting, etc. Easy way to double your income with just a bit of self-drive. What's your thoughts on that, Thor, as far as like getting a general contractor's license?
I think it's absolutely wonderful. I know lots of guys that have done this, and especially, being in power lighting trades, we work with a lot of contractors. Believe it or not, some of these huge electrical contractors, they're not electrical contractors. They hire subcontractors that are electrical contractors. They have a general contracting license to operate in this state.
Gotcha.
So having a general is very useful. It's very, very useful, particularly if you're in construction and you're doing those services that require contracts and you're going to bid hard money on things. Even cost plus contracting requires a contractor's license. So it's something that's very useful.
Okay. What do we got up next here? We got, I doubt there's a study out there, but I'm sure that there is a correlation with the decline of men going into blue-collar jobs and the pussification of society here, probably. Blue-collar jobs tend to be hard labor, require strong minds to work in all conditions, weather, fatigue, teamwork, critical thinking. If I had to put blue-collar workers in a box, I bet more often than not, they are men who would fight more often than freeze or take flight. Respect to all blue-collar workers. Absolutely, Aurelian. Real Trill Mike goes, I'm an IBEW 595 apprentice, make $70K as a second-year apprentice, and top out at $130K as a JW. Biggest challenge for anyone going into the trades is being able to control their attitude. You will do the shit work. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Fair enough, yeah. And Thor said that. You got
yes. And shout out to the narrowback.
Yeah. By J Real Music goes, how do you get into HVAC? I've been on the fence, but after hearing this pod with Thor, it makes me want to commit. WFNF L Chris JK. How does someone get into HVAC, Thor?
Okay, use Google and type in HVAC trade school near me. Read about it, call that school, and just start asking, how do I get in? How do I get in?
Bam.
Do you have a placement program? Okay. That's probably the quickest way to do it.
Okay.
Or the other way to do it is to call a heating and air conditioning service company and make applications as a helper, to be a helper of a HVAC technician. See if you can pick up a job that way.
Okay.
And go to school later.
All right. By Real Music goes, I know you said have a high skill so you can save up and finance your side hustle. That's why I'm going into HVAC and doing my music in the spare time. I will make 1.5 to 2 times as much in music industry. Thoughts, WGuys, WPod, and is HVAC a good high income skill? Absolutely it is, my friend. Need advice. Parents sitting.
There's a tough industry, guys.
Yeah, music
My
is.
son is a professional musician, and where his money is when he produces and writes, because he gets residual.
Yeah.
Anything else is just really low paid.
Yeah. Okay.
W producer.
We got here. Kano says, need advice. Parents sitting on paid off multi-unit property. Should I leverage it to buy more doors, making $200K a year, selling toilets, and have connections in the construction industry? Just bought my own second unit and redid kitchens. Appreciate the advice. No, man, rent that out and hold it as long as you can. If you really want to go ahead and leverage that property, I would say put a home equity line of credit on it or a cash out refinance. But I don't know if you want to cash out refi with this high ass interest rates. I would say put a home equity line of credit on that property if you really want to leverage it to buy more houses. Never sell, guys. I am not a fan of selling your property. Thor, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I didn't quite understand. It was his parents' house. Is he on the deed? And
Yeah, it seems like he's going to get it, or they're giving it to him, or he has control of it to some degree if he's asking this
if
question.
it's paid off and it's generating cash, why wouldn't you just sit on it for a while and then use the cash as a down payment for something else?
There you go. There you go.
I wouldn't necessarily put a mortgage on it if it's a good cash flow opportunity, because when you do that, now you're spending some of that cash flow on paying that mortgage off, and then you acquired another mortgage and you're starting to pay that off with the cash flow there. Unless you do the math right, what's the point? You have two mortgages, or you have one and it's generating cash, and you use that as a down payment to open the other one on that property you want to. It's just a different approach. I understand completely the need to use other people's money to get this thing going. It just depends on your level of risk. What I did is I would pay half down on these things, and then I'd work to pay them off. And then the cash flow I'd save till I had another 25, 30%, and then go buy another one.
Okay. All right. That's a valid strategy as well. So you just kept buying them as an investor, and you would put, okay. Yeah, bro. And the other thing you could do,
but they're all paid off, so the cash flow's there.
Yep, and they're worth significantly more because you bought in California, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, and then I started to move into actually, it's another one, is actually carrying the note and selling them. And there's a lot of reasons for that, because it takes that illiquid asset and makes it pretty much liquid. I can get, since those notes that I carry are pretty much, I can sell them at face value within a week.
Gotcha.
So not only am I got a 30-year note that I'm carrying, and another company handles it for me, if I needed the cash, I could just sell it within a week.
Wow. Okay. And
so I became a bank on at least a couple occasions.
And then for that guy that asked that question, you can also do a home equity line of credit, bro. That way you can pretty much open, you'll have the equity in that home. You could tap into about 70 to 80% of it. Yeah, you got to pay a small fee to keep that line open, but if you really want to sit there and buy other houses, whatever, that's another way. And then you can replenish that once you close on that house. Avilos goes, tried asking last week, but show ran out of time. Can you give advice on getting published, pitfalls or struggles you found, and solutions? Keep videos coming. I will do an episode on that. As far as like writing a book, guys, and being an author, that's a whole other situation. And I'll bring Aaron Clary for that, because Aaron actually helped me with that a lot. Okay, guys.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. Them boys goes, and you're also an author, Thor, as well. His book, it's Masculine Presence, a dominant masculine presence. Yep. Which actually have a copy signed. Thank you for sending those over, by the way.
Yep.
Did y'all see the recent viral video of the Twitch mod hanging with the creator, and she basically emasculated in front of her followers? No. Antoine goes, will going to trade school for electrician help secure a lineman job?
Yes.
Okay. The more certs, the better, guys. I've been thinking of getting my CDL, although I have a bad driving record and I only had my license for now 3 years. How will that affect my journey on trying to get my CDL?
Bad driving record?
Say that again. He has a CDL?
He doesn't. He said he has a bad driving record and he's only had his regular license for 3 years. How will that affect his journey to getting a CDL?
So if you don't, he understands a little bit about CDL. You can only have 4 points on your record. So you won't be getting a CDL until those points are 4 or below.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah. That's a dot controlled thing. So they don't want bad drivers as a safety thing. So if you don't have that, you're going to have to struggle until they all have a time limit and they all go away. Unless you have a drunk driving. Now you're going to have to try to get that expunged.
There you go. And you guys, you got to freaking pay off your tickets or whatever you may have as well.
And realize this is a CDL. The legal limit to drunk, we all know, is 0.8, right?
Yeah.
If you have a CDL, it's 0.4, regardless of what you're driving.
Oh, wow.
CDL, it's only 0.4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Chris can't get a CDL, bro. Not Chris.
Trutcha goes, 23-year-old third-year electrician's apprentice, non-union work on road per diem in the trade. It seems like you are capital licensing. Can't open a business without a master's license. How do I combat this?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one.
All right.
Top Shay goes, my FNF gents, what's good? My question, so Thor, I'm currently a director of a company that involves a rare craftsmanship, plumbing, electrician, and carpentry, but I signed a non-compete. So I can my own?
Yeah. What is the terms of your non-compete? Are you able to mix those crafts up and have something essentially different? You need to get a lawyer to look at the non-compete.
Gotcha.
Because you signed it, and there was obviously an advantage to doing that. So if you're going to change that business up, make sure it doesn't involve the non-compete. Those are usually pretty strong. But if you change enough significantly and have attorneys look at that non-compete enough to where it's solid, you'll be okay.
Okay.
But that's what you have to. You're gonna have to get attorneys involved.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're gonna read a few more of these guys and close out. I own an HVAC company and I hire people that don't know anything in the field, starting at $20 an hour here in Illinois and a lot of states. So you don't need to go to school or get a license to work with a company. Fair enough.
That's not bad.
That's true.
Steppa Snide goes, big up FNF from Jamaica. I joined the military back in 2016 as a medical logistics specialist, CDL, logistical skills, accounting. Learn a lot of discipline and learn a lot of social skills for free, over 100K easy. Yep, absolutely. Moreover, says, I think the non-compete has lapsed. It's possible to potentially build clientele to start on my own 300K plus due to word of mouth with my abilities within the trade. What are your thoughts? Okay, if you're then you're good then, because that was the whole thing that Thor was answering.
Or do you know? Because
Yeah, make sure you have a lawyer read it.
If
dude.
it's not complete, bro, you might get screwed.
Do what Thor said. Hire a lawyer, have them look over it, make sure that you've actually completed that term, because typically these non-competes have a term of period. And then if that's good, then you're good to go, Top Shay. We got here Josh Jeremiah. I'm an IBEW inside wireman from the Bay Area. I just turned out and saved up. Just purchased my first multi-unit. The trades are a great way to invest in assets, plus the benefits are great. Stay safe. Shout out to you, Josh.
Hey, shout back. Those narrowbacks that do inside wiremen, they're craftsmen, they're artists. I see what they do in the substations. Much appreciated, but they're still narrowbacks.
Jer goes, I'm currently a heavy-duty mechanic in Utah, making close to 30 an hour, 22. Any tips I can get to make more? I have no certifications or schooling.
No, you need to expand your base. You're going to need to get certs and start being aggressive and pursuing different jobs. You need to level up. You guys know that a lot of times you'll sit in a job and you get paid a certain amount. You know the best way to get your boss to give you a raise? Go to another boss.
There you go. Yeah. Noam Billy goes, to Thor, I personally refuse to work for a union for political reasons. How can someone get into, let's say, electrician field without going into a union?
So I totally understand that. I will say this, being in probably the most communist state that we have and working with some of these union guys, it's not as bad as you think. There's guys that think like us inside there that do push back silently. So if you don't want to do it because of political reasons, you can go to a right to work state. No problem. You can work there. And usually the cost of living is quite a bit better in a right to work state.
Okay.
So you have options, or you can work within the game to beat the game.
Okay.
So that's a valid strategy too.
And that one lives in Washington State.
Okay. Chris Drobin goes, third year in the plumbing, going into an open shop route, non-union, only getting paid 18 an hour in SoCal. What am I doing wrong? Should I go union or continue learning on the job?
So the difference here in California, if you go union, you're going to quadruple that hourly, and you're going to get a pension. And yeah, you may not agree with them politically, but they offer safety programs, training programs that non-unions do not. Straight up. Let's just be honest about it.
Okay.
And that's what they get. The bulk of their dues goes to safety programs, training, all that stuff. It's not the bulk of their dues goes to political action committees. It's not. And most of these unions, the books are open for memberships to see. Yeah, sometimes they have a list of people they want you to vote for that you would hate. But, you don't have to be a political activist to join a union or to work another angle at it. And you can get the money now. So in certain circumstances, like in California, being non-union is going to be extremely difficult as a power lineman to even compete.
Okay.
Bro, drop the ego, join the union, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah, seriously. It seems that way.
Yeah.
26, live in Texas, have my CDL making 70K after taxes. How do I get to 100K already working overtime?
Well,
On the road?
Oh, working on the road. I'm sorry.
so working on the road, you want to get to 100K. You need to go where work that pays you what you want is. That's really the answer.
Okay.
Or change careers and do a job that's easier or an industry that's easier to make 100K.
Okay.
That's the only way I can really answer that without knowing the other details.
Yeah. Or get more certs, like you said before.
Mm-hmm.
I have experience with forklift and reach truck. Is there any money to be made in that field?
Forklift and reach truck?
Yeah.
The next step would be to get a cert for fixed cab crane. It's the next one that's not too expensive, and that'll probably double your salary.
Bam.
Bets do.
Bam. Yo, we're giving you guys crazy value. Excuse me, Thor's giving you guys crazy value. I do infantry. You build a fighting position, practice the attack, defend an area or building using terrain. If you do something that is of use as a civilian, please, GI Bill and VA is fire too, okay?
Okay.
You're right, Myron and Thor. After the Marine Corps in the 04 moved to North Carolina, became a fireman for 16 years, worked at 3 different fire departments, a captain for one, made $175K per year by 29. Shout out to you, my friend.
That's
Good
dope.
work.
I'll tell you what, if I had it to do over again, I would have went into the fire department somewhere like California.
Wow.
Man,
They
the
do well.
benefits are incredible.
Yep.
The hours are good. Yeah, sometimes you work 3 days straight, and those guys bust their ass. But I know a lot of firemen, and that's a decent career.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Anything else on
Yep.
Rumble?
Yeah, we got like 3 more.
Okay. Thor, I'm 26 years old, 3 years experience at carpentry, now 8 years in total in multiple construction fields. I'm only making $28 an hour. I would like to get into the union, but I can't afford the pay decrease. Any suggestions?
Can't afford the pay decrease. I'm not sure what that means. Is his dues caused? It sounds like I have to make an assumption. To get in the union, they're going to make you do a 4-year apprenticeship again, so you're going to lose some salary. If that's the case, then maybe you need to go somewhere where carpenters make more money with the skill set that you've earned. If the union's offering you really good training and you can tighten your belt, and at the end of that apprenticeship, you can double your salary as it is now, then it might be worth it, especially if you can get a traveling card. And once you have attained that certification and that journeyman status, you can go somewhere else where the actual high paying work is. I didn't mention that before, but something called a travel card, where a lot of these unions are international. And if you pay the extra dues for a travel card, you can sign books where all the high paying jobs are. I remember a friend that's a glazer. And when I say a glazer, these guys would put in the windows on the high rises, hundreds of stories up.
Yeah.
And that's how they operated too. They'd get a traveling card. They could go all the way to Dubai and put windows in the Burj Khalifa and get triple their salary. You see, there's lots out there. If you just start putting your mind to finding it, believe it or not, you guys all travel. You see a bunch of guys working, linemen, firemen, go over there and say, hey, what's up, guys? Doing a good job. How are you doing? And then they look and say, good kid, how you doing? Say, I'm living the dream, man. How do I get where you're at? Boom, you're in. All right. You can talk to them now. Most of them will tell you what to do.
Yeah.
W Glazing.
Yeah. This guy, bro. Okay, Colorado Roughneck goes, been drilling for all 8 years. If you're not lazy and like time off, get on a rig. No car needed, just work ethic. Look up drilling companies for
floor hand positions.
No experience necessary. Usually starting at $28 an hour, 14 days on. $28 an hour, 14 days on, 14 off. Okay, not bad. Yep. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Anything else?
Yeah, we got like 3. Hold on 1 second.
3 more? Okay. And then we're going to close this thing out, guys, because we got the girls here and we got to get going with the after hours. But we'll definitely do another part on this. We can actually do one probably where open Q&A where we just answer questions like this. But I wanted to introduce you guys to Thor first so you guys know who he is. But obviously you can see here, giving y'all crazy value, man, answering questions off the fly. Neff goes, hey Thor, I've been trying to become an electrician, but I've been kicked out of 109 programs, and am I the problem or the program?
Oh no, that's messed up, bro.
Yeah, he's trolling.
Yo,
don't answer that.
Come on, man.
This guy, Kano goes, WFNF with the fire advice. Shout out to you, Kano. And then we got Blue Jay. Yeah, of course. I'm 25 years old, live with my mom, and I produce, and I'm a produce clerk at BJ's. I've been hesitant of getting into HVAC, but I'm interested in getting that high income skill to fund my side hustle, music industry, independent artist. Is it a good high income skill? And I'm also doing copywriting in the real world. WGuessW Pod, L Chris JK. Yes, bro. It is definitely a very high income career. Very good.
It's worth it. Yeah.
You can make $100K a year easily doing HVAC. We discussed it earlier in the show. You might have just tuned in recently. But yes, my friend, go ahead and get it. Anything? What else here?
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
To go.
Thor, where can people find you, man?
Hey, you can find me right here at becomedurable.com. I offer quite a bit there, from consults to an actual video lecture on how to become a journeyman power lineman. Where do you start? Where do you get these certs? And I also include in that a complete list of colleges that specialize in teaching linemen how to get these jobs all across the United States and Canada. So, and the price of that's like $88, the cost of an hour that a journeyman lineman out here in California earns. Bam. So Myron has a affiliate link for that.
Yep.
use his affiliate link if you're interested in this. Also, you know,
no excuses, guys. Get in there. It's not expensive.
Yeah.
$88
So
nothing.
becomedurable.com's where everything's at. And then, of course, I just released the book on Amazon, A Dominant Masculine Presence. You guys might enjoy that. There's 7 skills in there of a dominant masculine presence. I think you guys will be able to identify across all high value men. So it goes a little bit beyond alpha and beta. So hopefully you guys will take a look at that. And that's me. You can find me also at RP Thor YouTube. And of course, I'm a panel member on Rule Zero. And then I do the Dragon Ship once a week on Saturdays. So come say hi over there.
Go
Bam,
support
guys.
Thor, man.
Go support Thor, guys.
Masterclass
This is the uncle you never
stream.
had, man.
Yeah.
So nah, man, he's had a lot of experience, been around. So definitely go check him out, guys. Thor, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll bring you back. We'll probably do like a whole Q&A on this because I could see that guys have a lot of questions. I knew y'all would have a lot of questions. So, you know, we're gonna do more of these blue collar / trade type episodes for you guys on Money Mondays. And I don't want to hear no more fucking excuses, man. None of y'all should be brokies. We're going to give you guys the tools and arm you guys with the knowledge to get out there and become successful, okay? Anyway, guys, we'll be back with some lovely ladies in a little bit, probably within the hour. Thor, thank you so much for coming on. Love you guys. Peace.
Thank you, Thor. Peace.
I ran so far.